Alright, so I have never, ever once seen an episode of Solo Leveling, period. But all my homies say, and I'm not capping, you let me know in the comments below if this is true, that this show, when it comes to storytelling, is complete ass. But the fight scenes are absolutely fire. That's legitimately all that I've heard, bro. I've heard it's just been disappointing, but besides that, hey, let's talk about it. How Solo Leveling premise destroys its writing. Bro, all I read was Solo Leveling and destroys, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna check this video. I didn't even know it's talking about the writing, so the writing must be ass. Let's talk about it.
Here's a scenario that you've probably thought of before. Man, I wish something interesting would happen.
Oh my god, is that a convenient plot device?
My name is Convenient Plot Device, and I exist solely to demonstrate the main character's strength.
Damn right you are. Okay, I got a bit carried away there.
Never, but
that
continue.
Was a power fantasy.
Oh, okay.
We've all had them at one point or another.
In video games,
the
for
thrill
sure.
of being unstoppable, the rush of the world bending to your will, having more than $5 in your wallet. There's something intoxicating about that.
Man.
And let's be real here, life can be painfully boring. The
Sometimes.
daily grind.
Bro, I ain't gonna lie, boring is really good. If you are bored, that gives you time to actually develop yourself. But hey, don't listen to me, I'm just a life coach.
The monotony. It's no wonder we turn to stories where rules don't apply to us. Even I struggle to roll out of bed some mornings.
Understandable.
So escaping into a world where I'm the strongest, smartest, coldest aura farmer alive, yeah, that's a
bro,
pretty
we just talked
tempting
about aura
escape.
farming, bro.
But here's the problem. Power fantasies have a horrible habit of turning into slop. Every once in a while you'll find one that's actually well written, but most of them designed to be mindless, effortless, and ironically uninteresting. Which brings us to Solo Leveling, the biggest power fantasy on the block right now.
Okay.
Calling it slop would be unfair. It's nowhere as bad as the average seasonal isekai. The art is stunning. The world is surprisingly well built. But the characters, that's where things start to fall apart.
Well,
and no, it's not just because of the genre.
You need good characters.
I believe this failure is baked into the premise itself. So in this video, we're breaking it down. How Solo Leveling kneecaps its own character writing. How other series avoid this trap, and whether power fantasies truly have to be this way. Hey Greg, quick question. We can't even afford rent, so how exactly did we get that fancy animated intro? Simple. This video is sponsored by Polybuzz.
Who?
Wait, hold on.
Never heard of them.
So we got paid and you immediately spent all
the budget.
our money. It's fun to imagine power fantasies, right? And even more fun to watch them. But what if you could actually interact with the characters themselves? That's exactly what Polybuzz lets you do.
Bro, AI.
Polybuzz is an AI chatbot app that lets you have private, unrestricted conversations with over 20
Why he say it like that? And why is LeBron here?
20 million different characters in real time.
Can you dunk on me real quick? I can do a mean dunk, but let's keep it friendly, yeah? What the fuck?
Dude, we needed that cash. What am I gonna tell the landlord this time? You already broke my wall last week. Relax. With Polybuzz, you can create and chat with any character that you want. So I can even practice talking to my landlord? I was thinking more like Sun Jin-woo from Solo Leveling, or Fubuki from One Punch Man, but yeah, sure, go wild.
Please grant me a...
Anyway, download Polybuzz for free using the link in the description. And don't forget...
Bro, it's so interesting that there's so many AI chatbots and now they're actually sponsoring YouTube videos. I just gotta know, like, how much was the commission on this? Like, bro, it gotta be more than $400, right?
We first need to understand the genre it belongs to. Solo Leveling falls into the action battle category of manhwa, which is similar to those of shonen anime, packed with high energy fights, escalating stakes, and of course, its own set of tropes.
Moving kinda quick.
One of the most significant tropes is how side characters are handled. Tell me if this sounds familiar. You get introduced to a side character early on, someone with a cool premise and a lot of potential to grow on you. But as the story progresses,
Chad gets
the power
less and less
starts
cool.
lagging behind the main cast, and before you know it, they've been completely sidelined,
they're jobbers
losing
now.
all relevance to the plot.
The jobbers.
Take Rock Lee, for example.
Yeah, he was in 2003.
Easily my favorite character in early Naruto, a guy who just threw hands while everyone else relied on jutsu. But as the series escalated into kaiju battles and nuclear fucking level attacks, Lee just couldn't keep up, and so he faded into the background. That is the unfortunate reality of battle series. If a character cannot match the power scale of the current antagonist or plot, they get left behind. Conflict, development, and story progression in these genres are all handled through fighting. So if you are not strong enough, you are simply not relevant.
Just jumped off the sign.
Now, most battle manga manage to handle this to some degree. Yes, some beloved characters get left behind, but usually there's a solid core cast that keeps up with the story, giving the audience multiple characters to stay invested in. Solo Leveling is the worst story I have ever seen when it comes to handling this power progression.
Bro, I've heard this a lot.
And it's not just because of the genre, it's baked into the very foundation of its premise and Jinwoo's abilities. Alright, let's visualize this. Imagine a typical shonen power progression graph.
Okay.
A main character usually starts from zero, climbing at a steady pace. Some characters are left behind, falling beneath the level of plot relevancy, but usually they'll have a core group keeping up with them, plus future goalposts, stronger characters they'll eventually surpass. Okay? Now here's Jinwoo. First things first, Solo Leveling takes place in a world where power levels are essentially locked. If you're E rank, you're stuck there.
Forever?
No amount of training or experience will let you break out of your tier.
Oh, there's the first flaw right there. Nobody can get development.
The only person who can grow stronger is Jinwoo.
What?
Already, this is a massive problem because it basically guarantees almost every side character will be left behind. But it gets far, far worse when you realize just how Jinwoo scales.
By the way, is this game an MMO? Because it's called Solo Leveling, but again, I don't know anything about this. Like, is it an isekai? Somebody explain in the comments below, please.
First, he levels up like a normal RPG protagonist.
You're a cutie pie.
Distributing points to his stats,
okay, so it is
increasing
MMO.
His strength. That's linear growth, and this alone could be somewhat fine. But then you also have to account his individual skills, which also level up,
I hear they're OP.
stacking on top of this base progression. Now we're looking at quadratic growth.
Yes.
And then everything just goes to hell when you introduce his shadows. Jinwoo has the ability to resurrect enemies he defeats, turning them into his personal army.
And they get stronger too?
That means every major fight directly adds to his strength. Struggle against an incredibly difficult opponent,
and you
doesn't matter. He now owns that opponent's power fully with no caveats,
no restrictions,
as well as infinite revives as long as he has mana.
What?
So for the story to maintain tension, the enemies Jinwoo faces must be ridiculously more powerful than the ones he has faced before, putting him on track for cubic growth. And if all of that wasn't enough, even his shadows get stronger over time.
That's broken.
That's right. Other characters don't have the right to get stronger, but his shadows do. So instead of them becoming irrelevant as he moves forward, like that Caterpie on your Pokemon run, they scale with him, stacking on yet another layer of progression.
Bro's OP.
So while everyone else is stuck at a constant level, Jinwoo isn't just growing linearly.
No, he's growing exponentially.
Not even cubically.
Yeah,
he's growing
crazy.
at a fucking quartic rate. This isn't just overpowered, it's escalation hell, requiring every new antagonist and plot obstacle to be at a ridiculous level of strength compared to what came before.
Of course.
If you really want to understand how devious this escalation is, then let's take a look at Goto.
Bro, they literally gotta fight like god level threats by the 3rd chapter, man.
Goto is initially introduced as the strongest Japanese hunter, the top of the top, an S rank among S ranks.
And he gets one
And
shot.
the narrative sets up Japanese hunters as a legitimate threat, even framing them as superior to Korean's strongest. So naturally, Goto is taken as someone we're meant to be paying attention to. Then the Juju Island arc happens, and the escalation completely obliterates that setup. S rank is supposedly the ceiling of human strength in this world. These are national level weapons, apex hunters who carry their entire country's safety on their backs. And Baru? Baru just walks through them, literally. There's no fight, no tension, he just appears and starts decapitating S ranks like they're fodder. Why didn't he do this to the Korean hunters, even though they're weaker? No, don't ask that question. Okay, but surely Goto is different. He's the strongest of the strong. He'll at least hold his own for a second, maybe at least injure Baru. Something that justifies that arc-long build-up Japanese S ranks have been given. Nope, he dies instantly.
What?
Doesn't even land a hit, doesn't show a single unique ability, he just dies as quickly as the rest of his team, and that's it. This story couldn't even pretend that he mattered.
Terrible.
This isn't just about Goto, this is a recurring problem with almost every character in this series.
Nobody matters except
You cannot
Jinwoo.
get attached to anyone, because they will instantly be made irrelevant within an arc or two. The second that they're introduced, you can already hear the clock ticking on how long before Jinwoo and the plot completely outscales them. The one that personally peeved me the most was this guy, hyped up as humanity's ultimate weapon. Cool title, cool design, cool everything, yet nothing to show for it. Just another peon who exists to show how far behind everyone else is compared to Jinwoo. And I liked this character, I really did. And now I just have to accept that because of the way the series is built, it's literally impossible to care about any character who isn't Jinwoo. I just checked his wiki page, man. This is sad as hell.
The strongest
I just know
mage
he gets outskilled instantly. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not one of those people who thinks that every story needs to have some deep or grand message. But at the very least, you've got to give some attention to the rest of your cast. Think about it. Most power fantasies follow a familiar formula. The side characters struggle, the stakes get high, and then the main character steps in to save the day. It works because the build-up is what makes that payoff satisfying.
Of course.
But if your characters are completely uninteresting, then the build-up, aka 70% of the story, becomes low grade. And if 70% of your series is uninteresting, then the whole thing starts to fall apart. Take One Punch Man for example. Unlike Solo Leveling, it's not just good fights and animation. It's filled with memorable characters as well.
Good characters.
Genos, Mumen Rider, Garo. The story lets them shine. They aren't just props for Saitama. They have arcs, goals, and relevance. That's what makes the action and comedy hit harder.
Bro, that's what makes every great show in general good. You need to have great side characters, bro. Look at Demon Slayer.
Or compared to Hunter x Hunter.
Another amazing show,
let's be honest,
bro.
The Jeju Island arc from Solo Leveling at least mirrors the Chimera Ant arc in structure.
Yeah, a bit.
But where Solo Leveling used its cast to prop up Jinwoo, Hunter x Hunter used its cast and story to explore trauma, morality, and the cost of revenge. It made everyone feel important. And yeah, some fans will say Solo Leveling doesn't need to be deep. That it's just about cool fights and hype and aura.
Oh, for sure. It could be about cool fights, hype, and aura, but remember, that's all that show will ever be. If like 5, 10, 15 years from now, when the next cool, amazing anime that comes out that has good fights, but also has good characters, bro, Solo Leveling will only be known for its fights. Congratulations. You lost.
And sure, sometimes that's enough. But even the smallest amounts of extra care can take your story from fun to unforgettable. So if you're a writer watching this, just remember, unless you have a truly, and I mean a truly compelling main character, you never let them leave the rest of the cast in the dust. Your audience will be unsatisfied, your world will be half-baked, and worst of all, your story will suffer.
Absolutely.
Thank you for...
And also on top of that, man, when you actually think about any show ever made,
I mean
any
a truly compelling main character
ever made. Look at this. Look. Hold on, give it a second. When you see these characters, right? It's not about just the main character. When you think about any show, let's just say Naruto, because it also has an amazing cast of characters. When you think about the Konoha 9, or was it Konoha 7? I don't even remember. But every other character in the show, besides Team 7, right? You got Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke. When you look at real life, there are people that have the mannerisms of Naruto, Sakura, and Sasuke. There's also people that have the mannerisms of Rock Lee. There's people that have the mannerisms of Neji. There's people that have the mannerisms of Kiba. There's people that have the mannerisms of Tsunade. There's people that have the mannerisms of Jiraiya. There are other types of characters in the world. So when you have a show that's only dedicated to the main character, you're only looking at like 5% of the human experience that's going to be watching this show. There's only a few people that think they're the main character of real life and only straight care about themselves, right? Every other show has the value of teamwork or companionship or working together, because as human beings, that's what we do. We all work together, not to fight some giant ants, but just in general, we all work together. So yes, it's good to have these other characters. You think about Marvel, bro. When you think about Marvel, you think about Captain America, but nowadays you also think about Gambit. You think about Black Panther. You think about Falcon. You think about Winter Soldier. You think about the Hulk. You think about all these other characters as well, because they matter too. They have their own stories and their own reasons for working together. So when you have this show that's only dedicated to one character, congratulations. The only people that are going to really care are the people that only really care about Jinwoo. The only people that see themselves as Jinwoo. The kids that are sitting in chairs thinking about like their shadows and their demons, using them as freaking summons and shit. Those are the only people that are going to resonate, because those are the edgelords, bro. Those are the only ones that are going to really connect with Jinwoo, bro. Or the girls that just like that type of character anyway. There's other characters I see in this freeze frame, but I saw this one die. I think this one maybe dies. I think this guy dies. I don't even know these other two. Do they die? I don't know who this guy is. This don't look like Jinwoo. Does he die? Right? If these characters die, well then the fans or the people that actually resonate with these other characters, right? Because I'm pretty sure there's people that like archery that watch Solo Leveling and they were like, yo, this is me. This is my character. This character dies. They have really no more interest into the show because the character that they supported or the character that resonated with them is no longer in the series. So there's a lot to think about when it comes to characters, character designs, and everything like that. Let's go ahead and finish this last wrap up. I think he asked you to leave a like and subscribe.
Comment section down below. Do you agree or disagree? Either way, if you enjoyed, drop a like and a subscribe.
It was a cool
and
video.
And as always, I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
Pint is here. This was a really good video, brother. And honestly, it did scratch a lot of the questions I had with this show, because I have never seen a single episode. And honestly, right now, I just feel like I don't ever need to. Like, I probably could just type in on YouTube the fight scenes, and that's the only thing that matters, because apparently that is the only thing that matters. At least if what you say is true about, oh, they only care about the fights and the animation. Okay, congratulations, bro. There's good fights and animation in other shows as well that also have good characters. So it's an interesting conversation. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about Solo Leveling, and if you guys enjoyed the reaction, go ahead and hit the like button. Share a comment below about what your thoughts are when it comes to Solo Leveling and how do you feel about it. And I'll see you guys on the next one, man. Thank you guys for watching, and shout out to Pint for creating this amazing video. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.